In September 1972, the National Association of Black Social Workers published a position paper on transracial adoption. The opening line reads, "The National Association of Black Social Workers has taken a vehement stand against the placement of Black children in white homes for any reason." They go on to say that Black children belong in Black families, physically, psychologically, and culturally, so that these children can fully grasp their sense of self as a Black person in America. Given the United States' historical relationship with anti-Blackness, it doesn't seem incredibly surprising that less than 5 years after the Civil Rights Movement, Black social workers were wary of white parents adopting Black children. Full disclosure, I am not adopted, but I do know what it's like to have a multiracial family, and as a biracial person, I know what it's like to constantly question the validity of my Blackness. Because of my identity and experience growing up with a white and a Black parent, I'm curious about how growing up with 2 white parents affects Black children. So I spoke with members of 3 different families about their experiences living in a multiracial household.
My name is Nora Thompson, and I am an assistant manager at Nordstrom Wholesale Store. When my birth mother found out she was adopted with me, she was looking at all the fundamentals of if she was able to raise a child, and she decided that she was not capable of raising me in a healthy, efficient manner. So she put me up for adoption. I know that my parents, they had a meeting with her and discussed things about how they would parent and things like that. And you're pretty much being judged. It's like a judging process. The only issue is that I do believe that when an adoptive child becomes a teenager and starts having a life, that they should have a say in the conversations, in the way that this open adoption plays out. Because open adoptions, they can be very painful. There's a lot of trauma around me coming into this world. It was not wanted. It was not necessarily a happy moment.
According to the most recent data from the U.S. Department of Health, less than a third of adoptions are transracial. But that same data says that 90% of children of color are adopted by a parent of a different race. Dave Junker, associate professor at the Moody College of Communication and father of 5 Black children, told me that he and his wife decided to adopt after they struggled with fertility issues.
What we learned quickly was there's a lot of Black kids in this country that need to be adopted. And it seemed obvious to us that we were a couple that could handle it, that we were willing, we had kind of educated ourselves enough already that we had a foundation, that we weren't naive about race relations, and that we could do this. And we both believed that, and we still do, that love and providing a stable home is the most important thing.
While freelance journalist and mother Erin Belfer agrees that love is important, she thinks the cultural narrative surrounding transracial adoption needs to be more closely examined. Belfer is having a more tumultuous journey with her daughter, and a part of that journey is reconciling her blind spots as a white parent of a young Black woman.
For better or worse, it's been what it's been. The best thing, for me, it's like, I love my daughter, like crazy love my daughter. And I would throw myself in front of a moving train to save her life. I would do anything for her, just as if she were born to me. And it shouldn't be this way. And I think it's really wrong. But that my understanding of race and racism and white supremacy grew out of loving her and out of necessity. I like to think that I would come to the same place I am now had I not been her mom. But I don't know. I'll never know. But it's been a huge gift.
I think that having a Black African-American father has definitely been a necessity in my life. I'm not going to say that I'm against transracial adoption, because I know I have friends who are in a transracial adoption and it is not a problem for them. They are fine. But for me and my personal self, having an African American father who I can talk to about real African American people of color, real world issues in 2023, it's game changing. I mean, some things, I love my mother to death. I love her to death. But there are some things as a white middle-aged woman that she does not understand. I think there are times where people undermine me still being a Black woman because I have a white mother. I'm not going to necessarily say it's negative, but it is a frustrating experience to have your word not taken as seriously due to the fact that you have a white person in your household.
Junker echoed this sentiment. He said he and his wife have tried their best to help their children navigate American society, and inevitably, some things do slip through the cracks.
And there's something in you, I think, for us anyways, I think it is for most parents, is that you think you have what it takes to prepare this kid to have a good life, to be able to cope with whatever life brings at them, and be successful in the world, and find some kind of happiness. So that's what we set out to do, and we thought we could do that. And we think we have, for the most part. But one thing you also learn is that things are unpredictable, but especially for Black people, like navigating the world, right, every day. So that's also something you can't really prepare your kid for, but you have to be willing to respond to it and not prejudge situations.
I know that I don't know everything now. And in fact, I don't know a lot. But what I do know is that I couldn't be everything that Ruby, as a Black girl, then a Black tween, and then a Black teenager, and now as a young Black adult. I can't be everything for her. And that meant giving up some things that were like pretty big as far as parenting, right? Like, she didn't want to go back to school shopping with me. She did not want to go with me. And so, like, we had mentors in her life who she would go back to school shopping with. And for me, that's like, it's crushing. It's a huge loss to not have those kinds of moments. But I could have been like, no, we're going. This is about us, and we're going to go and have a good time and try and force it. But then it's about me.